Hello and welcome to lesson 1 of Macedonian with me. Alright, so of course I wanted to start out with how to say Macedonian with me in Macedonian, and that is Macedonski yazık söylemede. And I did write it here in both Cyrillic and Latin because I know that not everybody is going to have learned Cyrillic. However, below this video and in the last video in the description, I did link some sources that are really good for learning Cyrillic, and if I get enough people who want me to in the future, I can always go over the methods and the ways that I learned Cyrillic and how it really clicked in my head. Because it will be a lot easier for you to learn Macedonian if you do know Cyrillic. But that being said, for a beginner, you don't need to know it. It's fine if you don't know it, and I will be teaching in both Cyrillic and Latin so that it's easy for everybody.
Moving on, so I wanted to start with the sentence that really helped me the most when I first moved here, and what I really wanted the books that I was looking at to cover. Basically, it's
How do you say in Macedonian?
And this is very important, very, very important. And I think this is the best sentence that we can cover first because
now you'll have the format and the sentence structure to ask, how do you say different things in Macedonian, and that's really important. I think that my favorite learning styles is just implementing everything you know and replacing sentences that you know in English with, right after you learn them, replacing it with the language that you learn them in.
And how do you say in Macedonian, and I wrote this in both Cyrillic and in Latin, like I said, just because most people probably won't know Cyrillic, it is kako se vika. Kako se vika. So the kako is how in this, and then the se vika is do you say, generally. So yes, one more time.
Kako se vika.
And now to move on to some examples that I've made. So as you can see, this says kako se vika dog na Macedonski. And I wrote this both in Cyrillic and in Latin letters. And as you can see, it says kako se vika. This is that how do you say. And then, of course, we have dog, the English word that we want to know. And then after that, we have the na Macedonski. So the na Macedonski is going to be literally translated to be on the Macedonian, but it's actually in Macedonian, because in English we would say in. But a mistake that a lot of Macedonian native speakers make when they speak English is saying on English, not in English. And then, of course, we have Macedonski, which is Macedonian, and language is implied just as it would be in English. Macedonski yazık, that's how you say language, or English language, but in English we would also just say how do you say this in English, not how you say this in English language for that. And then the sevika here, as you can see in the answer, because we have the answer is dog sevika kuche na Macedonski. So the sevika is carried down like a fraction. I'm talking like it's a division, but it's carried down, and you basically just are restating the question that's asked. So to go on to another example of this is kako se vika cat na Macedonski, and again we have kako se vika here in the beginning, the how do you say, and then na Macedonski in English, in Macedonian, and then we have cat se vika mačka na Macedonski. So we are just taking the se vika. We take the kako because it's not a question anymore. We take the question word out. And now we just have cat, se vika, mačka na Macedonski. And then I just want to highlight that mačka, it sounds kind of like matcha latte, like a matcha latte, the green tea. For me, it always helps to make connections between things. So I want that to be the thing that you guys think of.
Whenever you think of cat, just think of matcha, but with a K, so mačka. And moving on. So the most important word, I would say, it's not a phrase, it's hello. So of course, first I will write it in Cyrillic, and hello is zdravo. And basically in Latin it looks like this. So this is something that everybody will say, every time anybody greets you, they'll say it. If you walk into a store, they'll say it. It's not like in America when people say hi, how are you, as a hello. People here just say zdravo. And also this covers hi as well. There's no shorter form, it's just zdravo for both. So yeah, pretty easy. Alright, and moving on, the next thing is my name is. So instead of having like the literal translation of my name is, instead people usually say like I'm called or I am. So it's one of those languages where you don't really say like my name is, you just say like people call me, and then that's, you know, like, because like usually the question as well will be like what are you called, and then you'll answer back I am called. So it makes sense in Macedonian. So it will be Jas se vikam and then your name. So Jas se vikam Lina. I am called Lina. And so here it is in Latin, and by the way, the J is y, so that is something that's a little bit different. When we write in Latin for Cyrillic, the J still stays the same. So that's how I will write for the lessons as well, because it makes sense to me, and it also gives you a little bit of a head start into learning Cyrillic. And next is the thing that's most important for us foreigners, which is where are you from? How to answer that question, where are you from? So this is something that people will ask you all the time because they can hear in your accent like that you're not from Macedonia. Or sometimes like if I'm somewhere and I'm like I'm like visibly struggling with my Macedonian, because I've had that where I've gone to like some sort of like a doctor or something, and I'm like I say to them in Macedonian, I'm like I want to practice my Macedonian, and then they ask, oh, where are you from, because they're just interested to see where you're from, because there's not that many foreigners here. So yeah, this is a really important question for answering Macedonian people. Usually this is the first thing they'll ask you. So we'll use America as the example because that's what I always say to people when they ask me. And I'll write this in Cyrillic first, and it will be Yasum old. Yasum old. So this is pretty straightforward. Unlike the last one, this just means I am from. Like, this is something that both in Macedonian and English, it's the same. And also, I do want to say that when I'm writing in Latin, the U is OO, like boo. Like, listen to how I pronounce the Cyrillic always, because you might not be able to understand the Latin letters as well, because sometimes they make a different noise, like the y, because yasum, maybe some people would think yasum, but it's, or jasum, but yeah, sum. And then I do want to go over the fact that this is pretty direct, where yas means I, sum is am, and old is from. And in next videos, I'll go over the different conjugations for sum, like how in English it's I am, he is, like I'll go over in Macedonian how that is, so you can start conjugating for other people as well, but this is the most important, is to know how to speak about yourself first. I don't want to overwhelm you guys with so much information, but hopefully you're writing things down so that in the future you'll be able to look back to it. But the last thing is how to say nice to meet you in Macedonian, and this is an important phrase. For example, like if I run into somebody with my host mom who I've never met but she knows, or even if it's someone who we're both meeting for the first time, like it doesn't matter the situation. But even if we say no other words to each other, we will say nice to meet you. That's like just customary and polite. And of course, we'll start out in Cyrillic and then we'll move on to Latin letters. So the phrase is milomie. Milomie. Alright, so that is the end of this video, and I am so happy to finally be getting started. I just really wanted to finish a video and upload it because I'm just so excited about everything. And yeah, I'm really hoping that maybe they'll get more fun in the future. Like I know they will. I just need to get the base and then I'll start building on that. But I'm really excited for this. It has a lot of potential, and yeah, it's gonna be super good. And thank you so much for watching again, and thank you so much for your effort that you're putting in for this beautiful language. And yeah, I'm just really happy about everything. And also, if you want a bonus word, ladna is the word for cold in Macedonian, but it has the gender, the feminine gender, because the word for water is voda, so ladna voda, but it's called ladna. So that's a fun fact. Have a good night or day or whatever, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Ciao!